Oh, so fabulous.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel once again. It's your girl Dumebi. If this is your first time coming across my channel, you're welcome to my channel. I do hope you decide to subscribe, and if you are a returning subscriber, you guys know that I love you. It's so good to have you here. Welcome back. So my usual disclaimer, please, this video is strictly for educational purposes. Do not go searching out anybody that I talk about in this video. Don't send them any form of hate comments, threats, or violence. This channel does not support any of that. So I came across this clip, I think it's from a podcast that has gone viral, and it was of two ladies. I think they are black British ladies, and they were having a discussion and they were talking about black people in America. As much as I hate to say this, somehow people always talk about African Americans. And let me just go right ahead and play their clip.
Black American women, not all Black American women, some Black American women need to get a grip.
What do they teach them in school?
I don't know what they teach them in school, but do you know what I think it is? The concept that African women or women from the UK who know their heritage and are from African descent are not black is crazy to me. Because the thing is that Americans are using the concept of black as a nationality rather than an ethnicity.
Okay, like to be black is to be African American.
Yeah, being black is phenotypical. It's not to do with your nationalities. I don't think they understand the concept that let me close my mouth and no one can hear my accent. Me and an American girl sit next to each other, they're gonna treat us the same. We're black. So like taking away the black identity from Africans and from people from the UK who are black is just really, I think that's really like a problem. Stop doing that, please. Thank you.
I feel like part for me of my issue with Black Americans feeling that they can police the idea of being black is that you lot associate blackness with slavery.
Yeah.
I also do feel like as well, policing a label that we didn't create is so boring.
Yeah.
It's a social construct that they made.
Wanting to have power that you just never have. I think that's what it is.
And it's just feel like, shut up actually.
Like, shush, please.
Yeah, ultimately was the aim of that sentence.
So the first thing I have to say is the energy with which they started that conversation. I know that this is not the full video. This is just a little part of the conversation that we got to see. But the way the clip started and the conversation, the way she said African American women or black women in America, when I saw that at first, I was like, okay, why is it just the women? Is it an African American woman thing or is it an African American thing, first of all? So it looked like it was black woman coming for black woman, first of all, and I didn't like that vibe. And then the other sister went ahead to say, what do they teach them in their schools, which to me is very offensive, and talking about how they need to get a grip. And I've seen this happen a couple of times where someone in the African diaspora wants to address another group of people in the African diaspora, and they always start off on the wrong foot. The way you start the conversation even determines if anybody wants to go ahead to listen to what you have to say. The way you start the conversation is also going to determine if people are going to listen to you with their guards up or genuinely feel welcome to listen to what you have to say with an open mind. So in my opinion, they started the conversation wrongly to even begin with. But when I went ahead to listen to what they had to say, I think the whole gist of what they're saying basically is that black should be a general term that refers to all people of the African diaspora, but that African Americans seem to have taken the word black as their ethnicity and somehow gatekeep the word black from other people in the African diaspora. I think that is what I understand from what she's trying to say. And yeah, I have some thoughts, but first of all, let's just go right ahead and play people's stitches and commentary, and then we'll get right into what I think.
Women need to get a...
It's giving obsessed. Sis, I would have to ask you if you even know any Black American women, or if you had like one or two encounters or a couple of anecdotes about some confused people that you then decided to expand and make a generalization for all of us, because that's the only thing that I can think of that makes what you said make sense. Black American women do not gatekeep what is black from other black women. When you talk about us gatekeeping what black is, we're talking about when non-black people steal and appropriate our culture and then get credit for taking something that we invented. But when I look at you, before you even open your mouth, all I'm going to think is, oh, that's another black woman. It doesn't matter where you're from because you phenotypically are like me. You are obviously a black woman, a woman of African descent. These diaspora wars are so freaking stupid. Like, do you not realize that having a superiority mentality is also a product of colonialism? Just because you can directly tie back your ancestry to a specific country or a specific tribe in Africa does not mean that you are better than us who were robbed of our heritage because our shared ancestors were forced on a boat that yours weren't. And to hold up this fact that you know where you come from like it makes you better than us is really sad. Why do you not have empathy for your cousins around the world? Why do you not realize that the only difference between us is a boat ride? Is savagery that was inflicted upon us. And you bring up us tying things back to slavery. Well, that is part of our heritage, and it's the only part of our heritage that they allow us to know. It's the only part of our heritage that they teach us and remind us of in school. So unless we go and dig into our own pockets and get our DNA tested, we have no idea, most of us, where our origins are in Africa. And again, that should evoke your empathy as opposed to you feeling like you can look down on us.
Teach them in school, but do you know what I think it is?
This shitting on Black Americans, and more specifically Black American women as race bait to boost your content, really needs to stop. Because if you actually took the time to listen to Black Americans instead of yapping and talking shit and understand our history with America, and it's obvious you don't know, United Kingdom's history either, because if you did, you would know we have a common enemy. It's Europe. It is all the European royal families, and it is the European governments. They are the reason why we have a diaspora to begin with, to have these quote-unquote diaspora wars. They took hundreds of millions of West Africans, enslaved them, dropped them off in Latin America, the Caribbeans, and North America. They are the reason why Black is a race and an ethnicity. They are our enemy.
To have power.
I hate to see this. I really do. I hate to see Black people, my brothers and sisters, confusing us for white people in America. Because the things that you are talking about are white people in America. If I walk into a room and you are the only two Black women in that room, I will choose you every single time over every other demographic, including Black men. You do not know Black women in America. And it's not okay for you to judge all of us based on your limited interactions. We do not have time for this because all of our Blackness is under attack around the globe. For you to think that we don't know the difference between nationality and ethnicity is ridiculous. Black people, we know we are Black in America. We know who our ancestors are. And I'm going to tell you something about Black women in America. Those are your ancestors too. We do know the difference between nationality and ethnicity. And if you knew your ancestors that came from America, you would be proud. Very proud. You do not know Black women in America because every Black woman that I know would choose you. And your stereotypical thoughts about us are white supremacist in the root, and it's something that you should unpack, not Black women in America.
Women need to get a...
I hate even giving you women the freaking engagement because it's quite obvious you've actually never been to the U.S. and hung around African people who are heavy in the U.S. because it's literally the opposite. You take any type of Black person whose nationality is not American, especially Dominicans, my God, they mad quick to tell you. And they will look exactly like me. They not black. I've had Africans tell me, they're not black. They're insert whatever BS nationality you want to call it. Okay? They are definitely not black because they're using it in the context of a nationality. Okay? I've literally never heard whatever this nonsense you're talking about. And also, leave us alone.
Some Black American women need to get a...
Their engagement was going down on the rest of their videos, so they chose this topic to talk about. I want to say their goal was to stop the divide going on in the Black diaspora, but they have failed. Like, they're taking us back. As a Black woman living in Texas, I don't know what other Black people face in other parts of the world. I'm down to learn about it, but I don't know if that's the point of your podcast, is to have some type of progressive educational conversation. In America, you can be Black racially, ethnically, and culturally. And I think you know some of that because in a lot of your podcast episodes, you look like a Black American woman. The box braids, the lip liner and lip gloss combo, I wonder where you got those trends from. It's just really unfortunate that you used those same glossed lips to say some dumb shit. Another person next to you was like, what are they teaching them in school? What are they teaching Black American women in school? Or maybe just Black people? Why would any country teach their slave descendants about what's going on in their diaspora?
a nationality rather than an ethnicity. Okay.
And I'm not a bitch that dives into the diaspora wars. I love all Black people, but I don't like when, especially people in the UK, try to make it seem like, and I'm not going to say Africans, but she is African. And people in the UK try to make it seem like Americans are dumb and we don't know whatever. We identify as American. We identify as African American. We identify as Black. Black in America is used as a race, ethnicity, and nationality. So if somebody's telling you you're not Black, which is not happening, they're probably just saying ethnicity wise, but it's really rare that people are gonna call a Black person not Black.
Black American.
I don't know where you get your education from, but let me tell you something. First, we were Negroes. Then we were colored. Then we were Black. Then we were African American. Now, when you get your ass off your podcast, I want you to go to get an application from any job in America. And guess what they will have? African American / Black. Black is not a phenotype. The fuck? It's not a phenotype. What are you talking about? Oh, Lord. I don't know what's up with y'all across that motherfucking pond, but y'all need to get together. Get together. Get an application here in America and see what the fuck they have on there. Because my uncle and my auntie-ism got colored and Negro on their birth certificate. On their birth certificate. So what are you talking about? What? What do they teach you over there?
Black American women need to get a...
I thought I hopped in on this, but I kind of get what they're saying, and I agree with the fact that, yes, if we were both sitting down, we would be Black, right? However, I think people need to try to understand that race, racism, etc. are defined so differently in America. I've seen a lot of people, especially Black Americans, like if they were asked, like, oh, what are you mixed with? What's your ethnicity? What's your nationality? People would say something like, oh, I'm Black and Jamaican. And it's like, but we understand why that is, because Black typically means Black American. And it is this way because, granted, we all came from the same place, just dropped off at different locations. But we, as Black Americans, don't have a direct link to where we come from. So all we can really say is Black. Because to be honest, if somebody were to ask you, what are you? You're most likely going to say your nationality first. You're most likely going to be like, oh, I'm Haitian or I'm Nigerian. You know, you're most likely going to say that first. All we have is Black or African American, which is a fairly new term. and Black American culture is its own culture, because I see where this convo is going and I'm not liking it. And I know somebody is getting heat right now for saying, I forgot her name, the creator, for saying the blueprint. While that might not be the right language to use, I get what she's saying, and she's kind of right. And I think what that creator probably meant to say was that our culture is extremely influential, to the point where everybody's dabbling in it, to the point where it appears as though we don't have culture, if that makes sense, because everybody's partaking into it. So yeah, I don't feel like the girls were necessarily wrong. I think we just need to have a conversation on why we think the way we do, or why others think the way they do. And also not perpetuate the idea that Black Americans don't have culture, because I see it.
So now that we have listened to all the stitches, one thing that I found in common with some of the stitches that I saw, even some that I didn't include in this video, unfortunately, and then some of the comments under the original video, was a lot of African American people, especially African American women, talking about how they've never heard this before, that this is unusual. Where are they getting the idea of African American people policing blackness from other Black people around the world? That this is not an actual thing. And then in the comment section, there were actually a few people saying that this is something that they have experienced, that they've seen this happen a lot of times, that there seems to be some confusion between ethnicity and race and nationality with African Americans, hence why they police the word Black. But now, from my own point of view, I would say that a lot of African American people do not police the word Black from other people, but there's definitely some very few that do. And then we cannot use those very few to generalize and judge the entire demographic of people, which are African Americans, or specifically African American women, as this lady said in the podcast. And then there's also this thing about some discussions that happen on the internet that don't really happen in real life. On the internet is where I have seen this whole policing of blackness by some African Americans who probably don't know any better, or probably don't have that Pan-African mindset, so they prefer to stand on their own and claim the word Black for themselves and exclude other members of the African diaspora. But social media is not real life. I believe when you interact with the actual African Americans in real life, you realize that most of them believe we are all Black, that all people of the African diaspora are all Black, and they do not gatekeep the word Black. Now, speaking from my own personal experience, I have seen those social media people that come to gatekeep the word Black. Yes, I have to say it. Yes, I have to say it. Like, I remember there was a video that I made where an African woman did something in America, and I titled the video "Black Woman Does So." And there was someone in the comment, it was just one comment. That's to tell you how negligible or uncommon this kind of comments are. But there was that one comment that I remember seeing that said, "This is not a Black woman, this is a, in quotes, African woman. Please specify next time," right? And then another instance I've seen on social media was when the whole brick lady incident was trending. You guys know the whole drama that went with the brick lady incident. And I know in the comment section, some people want to bring that as a conversation, but let's not focus on that. But the point that I want to make is, on those videos about the brick lady, in the comment section, there will just probably be this one person that is like, she's not a Black woman, she's Somali. So they wanted there to be an obvious, clear distinction between Black people and maybe Somali or African people, because they probably believe the word Black is exclusive to African Americans, which I disagree with. So this issue of African Americans claiming Black as their nationality or as their ethnicity and excluding other people of the African diaspora from claiming this is not something that I would say is rampant, but I'll definitely say I've seen one or two of these cases, and it is wrong to generalize. But mind you, in the case of the brick lady, even if some people might have taken out time to point out that she wasn't, in quotes, African American or Black, that she was Somali, Black women, I'm talking African American women, were still ready to go to war for this woman. So if they thought she was different from them, or if they were not thinking about protecting all Black women, they would definitely not have taken up her fight. So it is wrong for us from the outside looking in to think that Black Americans or African Americans or Black women in America specifically are excluding themselves from the rest of the African diaspora. And please, whenever we are addressing ourselves with these little diaspora wars and these conversations that can be uncomfortable and sometimes problematic, can we do it with a little empathy and with a little respect? Because you can't be talking about what are they teaching them in their schools, because if the roles were reversed and they said what are they teaching these black British people in their schools, making it sound like they are dumb, you would be offended. But at the end of the day, from my own point of view, I feel like everybody in the African diaspora, everybody of African descent that has that African heritage in them, regardless of colonization or slavery or whatever you find yourself geographically in the world or your nationality, I feel like we can all claim the term African or claim the term black. So when I hear the word black, what automatically comes to my mind is every black person in the diaspora. It could be anybody from any part of the African diaspora. But when I hear the word black culture, I specifically think African American culture. And it would pay us to know the history of African American people so we can understand how the word black came to be and what it means and what it represents for them. Now, I know I'm not an authority on this, but if you ask me, I'd say in the entire African diaspora, our race should be African or black, and I prefer African actually. And then instead blackness or Africanness, we have different ethnicities. We now have the continental Africans, that's the Africans that are still on the continent, who can identify by their different tribes. So we'll have the continental Africans, we'll have the African Americans, we have the Caribbeans or the Afro-Caribbeans, we'll have the Afro-Latino people, but we are all black or African people. That should be our race. So nobody's gatekeeping African or black from any other group in the African diaspora. When every black person can think like this, then I will know that we are genuinely bridging the gap. But in the long run, I think this is just one of those petty sibling fights. I feel like one of the reasons, I'm just going to say this as an African, one of the reasons we always seem to bicker and pick on each other is kind of like we're trying to understand each other. We're trying to let you all know that we're all the same. We don't need to segregate. And sometimes we say it the wrong way. And we don't even try to have these conversations in a productive manner, because if they wanted to really be productive in this conversation on that podcast, they would have actually expressed themselves in a better way that didn't sound like they were speaking down on African American women. And they probably would have had an African American person there to explain things and probably defend their ethnic group. But anyways, I still think these are conversations that we need to have. No matter how chaotic, I think it's still helping us understand each other and bridge the gap. So I want to know what you guys think about this whole thing in the comment section. If you are a member of the African diaspora that is not African American, has any African American person told you before that you're not black, you are, in quotes, insert nationality, you're not black, you're Nigerian, you're not black, you're African, you're not black, you're Jamaican? And if you're an African American as well, have you ever tried to correct another member of the African diaspora, telling them that they are not black, they are so and so? Please let me know in the comment section, because we really need to understand where this narrative is even coming from in the first place. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.